When the economy starts to shake, the human instinct is entirely predictable. We feel a knot in our stomachs, check the numbers, and immediately brace for impact. We pull inward, obsessing over our diminishing resources. Joseph Murphy described this state as poverty consciousness. It functions as a restrictive mental loop, driven by the constant, agonizing fear of what we might lose next. You can see exactly how this internal loop manifests in the physical world. When a localized fear scales up, it creates collective panic on the trading floor, blinding participants to the emerging paths a shifting market creates. Decades earlier, an anonymous 1926 guide on wealth identified the root cause of this paralysis. Most people facing scarcity just kind of wish for a solution, without any real energy. The book labels them thoughtless talkers. Picture a window shopper staring at an expensive display. They might voice a desire for the item behind a glass, but dismiss the thought as impossible the second it's spoken. The impulse fizzles instantly. When our goals vanish on contact with reality, luck has nothing to do with it. Failure occurs because the baseline operating system is wired for fear, instructing the mind to actively seek out proof of its own limitations. To break this chaotic cycle, Napoleon Hill insisted on a mandatory first step. He realized optimism without a target is useless. You have to replace a vague wish with a definiteness of purpose. This requires a rigid, mechanical rule. You must physically write down a hyper-specific, massive target. That single act commands your brain to filter out the noise and recognize the specific resources required to get there. Of course, taking this clear plan into the real world means hitting walls. A severe economic downturn will push back against your timeline, dry up opportunities, and drain your capital. Hill treated a failed business venture as essential veda. These setbacks highlight exactly where your plan needs to be refined before moving forward. The heavy pressure of a tight economy provides the exact friction needed to force out brittle impurities. It demands that you become sharper and more resourceful than a comfortable market ever would allow. External hardship is the mechanical friction required to compress a vague passing desire into an unbreakable, sculpted target. Having an unshakable mindset and a clear target provides your direction, but without a reliable engine for daily physical action, the math of building wealth simply will not work. B.J. Fogg proved that for any action, 3 elements must align: motivation, ability, and a prompt. Motivation fades, so you max out ability, scaling the action to 0 effort. Then apply a prompt, an existing daily habit, and tack on a new 30-second behavior. This exact mechanical alignment appears in the ancient rules for Babylon. By slicing off 10% of your earnings before paying bills, you treat the act of getting paid as a prompt, making the first action the easiest for your future self. By funneling massive financial ambitions into microscopic actions that are impossible to fail, you remove willpower from the process and guarantee your daily execution. There is a final, vital ingredient that locks this entire system together. It happens immediately after you perform your tiny habit. You celebrate, triggering a genuine feeling of success and gratitude. These flashing neural pathways show dopamine in action. That chemical hit physically rewires the brain, locking the behavior in through a genuine feeling of success. This daily emotional hit creates momentum. It systematically shifts your internal identity, away from a person who simply wishes for wealth, into a person who consistently shows up and executes. Building real security operates as a complete ecosystem. Your definitive purpose provides the precise aim. The friction of the real world sharpens your strategy, and microscopic, dopamine-driven habits construct the actual financial reality. The interest rates, the inflation numbers, and the mass panic of the 24-hour news cycle do not dictate your trajectory. Thriving is a deliberate, disciplined choice. It requires rejecting the noise, scaling your first action down to a certainty, and engineering your prosperity from the inside out.